That is Acting Homeland Security Director Chad Wolf talking about the situation in our nation's streets, those streets that are particularly out of control in Portland and Seattle and Chicago and elsewhere, where federal agents are being sent in order to quell some of that violence. Joining me now is a Republican Senator from Louisiana, John Kennedy, on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator, great to see you. Thank you for coming in. What do you think about the use of federal agents in these cities if the people elected to those cities' positions, mayors and governors, don't want them?
I don't understand Mayor Wheeler. I just don't.
This is the mayor of Portland. Go ahead.
Yes. My first thought is, when I saw all this, is, when the mayor's IQ gets to 75, he ought to sell. Here you have nihilists trying to burn down his city, destroying people's businesses, law-abiding people's businesses. The federal government is trying to help, and he is criticizing the federal government. Who's on first? What's on second? This makes no sense to me. Well,
he's running. Maybe I just throw something out there, but he's running against an opponent in November for his position who said very vocally, "I am Antifa." I'm quoting her right now, the person he's running against for the mayor. That may have something to do with it. He's running against somebody who's actively in favor of Antifa.
I don't care if he's running against the Pope. This is wrong. He took an oath to protect his people and to protect his city. How is allowing a bunch of nihilists who don't even know the difference between Ulysses S. Grant and George Washington, how allowing them to burn down his city, how is that in the best interest of the people of Portland? I just don't get it.
I want to switch to another issue involving what's happening on our streets, and that's that couple who were protecting their home with weapons. The man had a long gun, the woman had a handgun. Their territory had been invaded. It was a private property by people who they say were threatening their lives, and now they have been indicted for felony charges. What do you make of that?
I've said this before, and this is kind of how I view the issue. I believe love is the answer, but I also own a handgun just in case. And if somebody tries to threaten me or threaten my family, I have the right as an American to defend myself.
Well, does the prosecutor have the right to indict for felony?
No, of course
if these
not.
Individuals do that?
No. We all saw what happened on TV. And the Attorney General and the Governor need to overrule the Attorney General. And by the way, when his IQ gets to 75, he ought to sell too.
All right, let me switch to yet another subject. We've got him popping today. We have Nancy Pelosi just announcing that $1 trillion is not enough money for another coronavirus relief bill. What do you make of that?
Look, CDC tells us, David, that out of every 1,000 Americans who get the coronavirus, 6 are going to die. So the coronavirus can kill you. Poverty can too. We're trying to do something about it. Our economy has been waterboarded. We've spent $3 trillion, 6 if you include the Federal Reserve. We're working on another $1 trillion bill. There's some good ideas being debated. The only thing I'm certain right now is, and the Speaker just needs to accept this, Speaker Pelosi's bill is not going to pass. You can write that down and take it home to Mama. And the sooner she accepts that fact, the sooner we'll be able to confect a deal that's in the best interest of the American people.
Well, let me just ask you what is acceptable and what is not. Extending the $600 weekly bonus that the feds throw into unemployment insurance for all those who've been thrown out of work, that will expire at the end of July, and she wants to extend it another 6 months, which will cost, I've added it up, about $360 billion. Is that acceptable or not?
Here's what we're talking about doing, David. We're talking about, and nothing's been decided yet, direct stimulus payments. We're talking about a payroll tax cut. We're going to probably do something on unemployment compensation. It won't be an extra $600 a week, but we need to address that. We're going to try to help the elementary and secondary schools that decide to open. There's some discussion on helping higher education. I want to understand why we need to help them, because we gave them a lot of money in the first round. I'm not closing my mind to it, but I need some answers. Dan Sullivan and I have a bill to give state and local governments more flexibility to spend the money we've already given them. That's probably going to be part of the bill.
But you did say, you did throw in there, just to be specific, you threw in there that an extension of that unemployment bill or the unemployment check would be acceptable. You said by maybe not $600.
Not at $600 a week. No.
So what would be acceptable?
Well, we're talking about that. It'll probably be tied to a percentage of a person's former income. We're going to have some people out of work. I know a lot of folks had to go on unemployment, and I think I thought that many of them, when it ended, they'd be able to go back to a job. I'm afraid, particularly in the hospitality industry, they're not going to have a job to go back to, and we're going to try to help them. But we can't pay people more not to work than to work.
Senator John Kennedy, always a pleasure to have you in, sir. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.